Hey, it's Becky from Patchwork Posse. Today I am going to show you how to sew an hourglass quilt block. This is such a simple block to make, and depending on what fabrics you choose, you can do scrappy. I'm going to show you how to make 2 hourglass blocks out of 2 squares of fabric. You just need to be using the same size for each block. It's super simple. In the description, there's going to be a link so you can see a full quilt that has been made using these blocks that you are going to love. Plus, it uses a layer cake, which actually makes it even easier. All right, to make a hourglass block, you are going to take 2 pieces of fabric and you are just going to need to make them the same size. So to make it easy for yourself, you can use charm packs, you can use a layer cake, which are perfect for this because they are the same size. So what you are going to do is you need a light one and a medium or dark. So you just need some contrast between the 2 fabrics that you choose. That way you don't lose the design of the hourglass block. On your lightest fabric on the wrong side, you are going to draw a line, and you can use a hair marker for this. You can use chalk, you can use your mechanical pencil, whatever you have. You just need to draw a line from corner to corner on one of these squares. Remember to use the wrong side of the fabric, and I'm going to use my Sew Tights ruler. It does not move, does not shift. I love it. If you don't have one of these, you need to check out Sew Tights. There will be a link in the description so you can take a look at it. We are going to draw a line from corner to corner on this square. What you're going to do is take this to the machine and you're going to stitch on both sides of those drawn lines. After you have laid right sides together your 2 squares. Now, if you need to put some pins in here so your fabric doesn't shift, so you are going to take this to the machine, and again, you're going to stitch on both sides of this drawn line. Now, you want to make sure that you stitch a 1/4 inch. And if you actually do a scant quarter, that would be great as well. Gives you just a little bit of flexibility, and you can, trim up easier later when your pieces are not too small. So the next thing you're going to do is cut directly on that drawn line. After you have that cut, you are going to press these to the dark. So we are going to fold this back. I'm just going to give this a good press. Now, if you want to make this scrappy, what you can do is repeat this process with 2 other fabrics, and then you can mix those up. For this one, I'm just showing you how you can make the 2 hourglass blocks using the same fabrics. But really, if you want to have some fun, make a few of these and then start pairing them up differently. What we're going to do first is we have our 2 pieces, and you're going to turn one to the wrong side. You're going to take your pencil again, or whatever you're using for marking, and you are going to draw a line once again from corner to corner on the wrong side of this fabric. Now, if you need to change pencils or whatever on that dark fabric area so you can see your line, do that just to make it easy for yourself. Then we are going to place right sides together. Now, when you place these, you are going to have opposites. So you want your colored or your background opposite of the colored or the background. And you're going to just kind of smush these seams together. It's just like nesting a seam when you have like 4 patch units or anything else. but you want those seams to lay very flat and nice. You can tell when it overlaps, it gives you a big bump and you don't want that. So you can check this by pulling back one corner and seeing that these are going to line up really nicely. So make any adjustments right now before you sew. And again, we are going to pin this in place. You're going to take this to the machine. You're going to stitch once again on both sides of that drawn line, a 1/4 inch or a scant quarter, just to give ourselves a little bit of trimming room. But that is the next step. So I'm going to take this over to the machine and stitch on both sides of that line. All right, with that, we are going to, again, cut directly on that drawn line. Once we have those cut, you are going to open these up and press them once again. Now before you cut, if you want, you can pull back those corners and double check your intersections or the seams to make sure that they are fairly close. If you don't like them, you can always unpick and re-sew that. But once you've cut it, that makes it a little hard. So if you need to audition that before you cut, I highly suggest you do. Now I've got 2 hourglass blocks out of those 2 square fabrics. We are going to now trim these up. For squaring up or trimming, if you have a larger ruler, that works great. A large square ruler. It works great. You can line up your diagonal line on the ruler. What you're going to do is kind of find the smallest size that works for all the squares that you have cut or sewn. So depending on what that is, it might end up to be 8.5 inches, might end up to be 9 inches, might be 9.5, depending on how tight everything is. This one, it looks like I can get 9 by 9. The thing with this is when you are trimming these blocks, you want them all the same size. So no matter if they're all 9-inch, which is kind of a weird shape or a weird size, it doesn't matter because all your blocks are going to be 9 inches. And so I'm going to look at that one, and then I can kind of look and see if I can do 9 inches here. That is really tight and it's not on that corner. So I can't do 9 inches with this. So I might just keep with the 8.5. It leaves me a little bit of extra trimming, but it does allow me to kind of position my ruler in a way to get the most out of my block. And so you want to check your 45-degree angle line on your ruler, line that up as you can. Your point needs to be at the intersection of the seam. Your 8.5 needs to be at the seam, 8.5 needs to be at the seam, and 8.5 needs to be at the seam. So make any kind of adjustments that you need with your ruler before you cut this. If you have a rotating cutting mat, that works really nice as well. I don't have mine on the table, so I'm just going to do this. So with 2 edges cut, I'm just going to flip my block and then line up my ruler once again and trim this. Then I'm going to repeat that with the other block. And again, the idea is to get these all the same size. So whatever that is or works out to be, just go with it. So you can repeat this until you have all the blocks that you need for your quilt. Now in the description, I have a quilt tutorial that you can follow and make yourself a full quilt using a layer cake, which is a lot of fun. All right, so that is how you can sew up 2 hourglass blocks using 2 squares of fabric.